This short video is called storytelling, and it's a method of communication. You know, most leaders understand the importance of great communication skills. However, there is a very effective and maybe the most effective communication mechanism that you can use, and it's called the story. You know, all communicators should know the value of telling a good story because stories help us to retain information in our brains more effectively. You know, everyone loves a good story, right? You know, stories connect issues with personal experiences using emotions. You know, consider this example. Okay, you're my inspector, and I tell you to be careful when measuring windows to ensure they meet the code that requires windows under 24 inches and 6 feet off, you know, drop out the outside, to have limiting devices. So to make my argument more compelling to you, I could tell you, you know, hey, it's the code. It's black and white and must be followed. You know, I could reiterate that, hey, it's a safety issue. You know, somebody can get hurt. And you may think, yeah, you know, but what's the odds of this accident actually happening? So I could go even a little further and tell you that there could be a liability for the department if you were to overlook this code, even by mistake. And then I could go farther, play on your fear, and tell you that this could be a personal liability to you if you knowingly approve these windows without limiters. And I tell you that the world's controlled by lawyers, and if someone got hurt here, it's going to certainly be an easy home run for an attorney and a simple decision for a jury. You could be in some real trouble here. These attempts at bringing all these points home were really fictional possibilities. No one got hurt. Nobody got sued. You know, the department's liability, your liability, threats of litigation from an attorney are possible, but they didn't happen. So consider this true story. I worked in a community, and I work in a community, and back in 2005 or 6, there was some condominiums built that were, you know, 2 stories with a walkout. So, you know, one wall could be a significant drop. And we received a call that a little boy had run across the condominium, hit the screen. Screens aren't supposed to be restraint devices. Tumbled out the window and broke both his arms. He was 5 years old. And so they took him to the hospital. I went to the site, asked to re-inspect the window, and the windows were within the code. They were over the 24-inch mark, which shows you the codes aren't perfect either. But you know, as I go through that sub later on, after that time, I see the little boy out there with his cast on his arms, you know, because a couple of broken arms aren't going to stop a 5-year-old little boy. And but my point here is that every time I went into that condominium complex, I mean, years later, even today, I go into that condominium complex, and this was 8 years ago. You know, I always look at that building, I always look at that window, and I always think about that little boy. So, you know, there you have it. Do you think this requirement would stick with you based on the fictional possibilities? Maybe, I doubt it. You know, most likely it will be the story of the little boy with the broken arms that you will emotionally relate to and most likely remember when you measure these windows in the future. So now start thinking about stories from your career that you could use to help teach your team or communicate an issue. Think about your greatest achievements or even your biggest failures. And remember the elements of a good, memorable story. They use emotion, sometimes conflict, to make a point. You know, they make the team think and feel. So give it a try. And remember, everyone loves a good story. Thanks.